T.S. Eliot, The Wasteland. Number 3, The Fire Sermon. The river's tent is broken, the last fingers of leaf clutch and sink into the wet bank. The wind crosses the brown land unheard. The nymphs are departed. Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. The river bears no empty bottles, sandwich papers, silk handkerchiefs, cardboard boxes, cigarette ends, rather testimony to summer nights. The nymphs are departed, and their friends are the loitering heirs of city directors. Departed have left no addresses. By the waters of the Leman, I sat down and wept. Sweet Thames, run softly till I end my song. Sweet Thames, run softly, for I speak not loud nor long. But at my back, in a cold blast I hear the rattle of the bones, and the chuckle spread from ear to ear. A rat crept softly through the vegetation, dragging its slimy belly on the bank. When I was fishing in the dull canal, in a winter evening round behind the gas-house, mussing up the king of my brother's wreck, and on the king my father's death before him, white bodies naked on the low damp ground, and bones cast in a little low dry garret, rattled by the rat's foot only year to year. But at my back from time to time I hear the sound of horns and motors, which shall bring Sweeney to Mrs. Porter in the spring.
Fear death by water.
Oh, the moon shone bright on Mrs. Porter, and on her daughter.
In a ring.
They washed their feet in soda water.
If you see dear Miss Equitone,
twit, twit, twit.
tell
jug,
her I bring
jug,
the horoscope
jug,
myself.
jug. So rudely
One must be
forced
careful
to rue.
these days.
The unreal city.
Unreal city.
Under the brown fog
of winter dawn.
Mr.
My
Eugene,
crowd flowered over
the
London
Samira
Bridge.
merchant,
So many.
unshaven,
I had
with
not
pocket full
thought
of
death
currants.
had undone so many.
Sif London
Sighs,
documents its sight.
short and
Asked
infrequent
me
were
in
it hailed.
demotic French.
And each
To
man
lunch
fixed his eyes
at the
before his
Canal
feet,
Street Hotel, followed by a
flowed up
weekend
the
at
hill and down King
Metropolitan.
William Street,
At the
to
violet
where
hour,
St.
when the
Mary
eyes
Woolenough
and
kept
black
her their
turned
hours.
upward from the
with a
dusk,
dead sound
when
and
the
the
human
final
engine
stroke
waits,
of 9.
like a taxi
There,
throbbing waiting.
I saw one.
I,
I knew and
Tiresias,
stopped him
though
crying.
blind,
Stetson,
throbbing between two lives,
you who
old
were
man
with
with
me in the
wrinkled
ships
female
at Mile,
breasts can see
the corpses you
violet
planted
hour,
last year in
the
your
evening
garden,
hour that
has
strives
it begun to sprout?
homeward and
Will it bloom
brings
this
the
year?
sailor home from sea.
Or has the sudden
The
frost
typist,
disturbed its
home
bed?
at tea time,
Oh,
clears
keep
her
the dog
breakfast,
far hence.
lights her stove
That's
and lays
friends
out
the
food in
man.
tins.
Or will his
Out of the
nails
window,
will dig it
perilously
up
spread,
again?
her dying combinations touched by the sun's
Electric.
last rays. On the divan are piled, at night her bed, stockings, slippers, camisoles and stays. I, Tiresias, old man with wrinkled dugs, perceived the scene and foretold the rest. I too awaited the expected guest. He, the young man, carbuncular arrives, a small house agent's clerk, with one bold stare. One of the low on whom assurance sits, has a silk hat on a Bradford millionaire. The time is now propitious, as he guesses. The meal is ended, she is bored and tired, endeavours to engage her in caresses, which still are unreproved, if undesired. Flushed and decided, he assaults at once. Exploring hands encounter no defence. His vanity requires no response, and makes a welcome indifference. And I, Tiresias, have forsuffered all, enacted in the same divan or bed. I who have sat by Thebes, below the wall, and walked among the lowest of the dead, bestows one final patronising kiss, and gropes his way, finding the stairs unlit. She turns and looks a moment in the glass, hardly aware of her departed lover. Her brain allows one half-formed thought to pass. Oh, now that's done, and I'm glad it's over. When a lovely woman stoops to folly, and paces about her room again alone, she smooths her hair with automatic hand, and puts on a record on the gramophone. This music crept by me upon the waters, and along the Strand up Queen Victoria Street. Oh, city, city, I can sometimes hear, beside the public bar in the lower Thames Street, the pleasant whining of a mandolin, and a clatter from within, where fishermen lounge at noon, with the walls of Magnus Mitria hold, inexplicable splendour of Ionian white and gold. The river sweats, oil and tar, barges drift, the turning tide, red sails, wide, the lead whistle winged by the heavy despair. Barges wash, drifting logs, down Greenwich Reach, past the Isle of Dogs. Walayla Layla, Walayla Layla.
Staying at the Archduke.
Elizabeth and Leicester beating oars, the stern was formed, a gilded shell,
Frightened.
red and gold, the brisk swell, ruffled both shores, southwest wind, carried downstream, the bell of the peal of bells, white towers,
And go south
Walayla
in
Layla,
winter.
Walayla Layla.
What are the
Trams of
roots
dusty
that
streets
clutch?
and trees.
What branches grow?
Highbury bought
Out
me,
of the stony
Richmond
rubbish,
and Kew
son of
undid
man?
me.
You
By
cannot
Richmond
say,
I raised my
or guess,
knees,
for you know only, a broken images
My feet
where the sun
grow
beats,
more great,
and the
my
dead
heart
trees
my
give no
feet.
shelter,
Under
the
the
cricket
event,
no
he
relief,
wept. He promised
and
a
the
new
dry
start.
stone no
I
sound
made
of
no
water,
comment. What
only.
should I resent?
There is shadow under this
On
red
Margate
rock,
sands I can
common
connect.
under the shadow
Nothing
of
with
this red
nothing.
rock,
The broken
and
fingernails
I
of dirty
will
hands.
show you something
My
different
people
from
humble
either.
people.
Your
who
shadow
expect
at
nothing.
morning, striding
La la.
behind you, or
To
your
Carthage
shadow
then
at
I
evening,
come.
rising to meet you.
Burning, 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 burning. O Lord, thou pluckest me out. O Lord, thou pluckest me. Burning.
Mein Ichte unkind, wo willst du? You gave me hyacinths first a year ago. They called me a hyacinth girl. Yet when we came back, late from the hyacinth garden, your arms full, your hair wet, I could not speak, and my eyes failed. I was neither living nor dead, and I knew nothing. Look into the heart of light, the silence, Ode Undulus Damir. Madame Sosotries, famous clairvoyant, had a bad cold, nevertheless, is known to be the wisest woman in Europe, with a wicked pack of cards. Here, she said, is your card. The drowned Phoenician sold it sailor. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Look, here is Belladonna, the lady of the rocks, the lady of situations. Here is the man with 3 staves, and here is the wheel. And here is the one-eyed merchant, and this card, which is blank, is something he carries on his back, which I am forbidden to see. I do not find the hanged man, fear death by water. I see crowds of people walking round in a ring. Thank you. If you see dear Miss Equitone, tell her I bring the horoscope myself. One must be careful these days.
The
Unreal City, under the brown fog of winter dawn, the crowd flowered over London Bridge. So many. I had not thought death had undone so many. Sighs, short and infrequent were it hailed, and each man fixed his eyes before his feet, flowed up the hill and down King William Street, to where St. Mary Woolenough kept her their hours, with a dead sound in the final stroke of time. There, I saw one. I knew and stopped him, crying, Stetson, you who were with me in the ships at Mile, the corpses you planted last year in your garden, has it begun to sprout? Will it bloom this year? Or has the sudden frost disturbed its bed? Oh, keep the dog far hence,
lights her
friends
stove
to
and lays
man.
out food and tins.
Or will his nails,
Out of
he'll
the
dig it
window,
up
perilously
again.
spread, her dying
You
combinations
hypocrite,
touched by the
lector.
sun's last rays. On the divan are piled, at night her bed, stockings, slippers, camisoles and stays. I, Tiresias, old man with wrinkled dugs, perceived the scene and thought